Welcome to the Catbird Quilts. I'm Kathy Martin. Today's thrift haul is like that song Julie Andrews sang in The Sound of Music, my favorite things, and I have a lot to say about it. So in this pile of shirts are some of my favorite things. And if you've been with me for a while, you probably already know some of them. Linen, shirts. But I also want to talk about saving money today. And I have discovered through these thrift hauls that some of you are actually very interested in what I pay for the shirts and how much money I save on them. And I think by the time I get it home and get them washed and get them ready to talk about in these videos, I have long forgotten how much I have paid for them or if I saved a lot. And because even the non-sale price of thrift store shirts are still cheaper to me than buying fabric in my local quilt store, I consider it a wash. Like, I'm getting a yard and a half or a yard and a third of fabric for $6 or $7 if I pay full price. If I went to my local quilt store, that's $12 a yard at the start, unless it's on sale. And so for me, I already know it's cost effective. But sometimes you get those deals and it's so rewarding. I also want to show you a new system that I have created for myself to help track whether I'm making a difference in the overall cost of the quilt. So those are the things I want to talk about. This first shirt that I'm going to show you is a linen blend. I'm in the process of collecting linen shirts, which I love linen. I have extolled the virtue of linen to the point of annoyance, which I will not stop. This is not going to stop anytime soon. I'm going to continue to have things to say about linen. In fact, one of my viewers sent me a video on YouTube of the whole linen making process, like the old school way, not the big industrial manufacturing way. And I watched the whole thing. It is the most soothing and wonderful and educational experience. In fact, I'll probably put a link to it in the description. But this shirt is a linen cotton blend. It is, it's kind of an interesting color. It's a little bit pink, a little bit peach, a little bit rose. And you can see from the stack here that I have a very similar one right beside it. And I'm collecting linen because I want to make an all linen quilt. When you see it, you have to get it because you're going to come back to the thrift store 2 days later and it's not going to be there. So I've just been like almost impulse buying linen. But I know what happens when I get linen normally is I'll get a shirt that I really like and then I use it up almost as fast as I get it. And so I'm not collecting enough to be able to make a whole quilt. So I'm just gathering at this point. I'm just gathering linen. This is linen cotton. A lot of people ask, do I use linen cotton blends together? Yes, I do. Do I use linen with cotton in quilts? Yes, I do. I've had no problems with them so far. So that's the first one, and it was an extra large, and it is a short sleeve, which sometimes you have to settle for short sleeve shirts in linen because it's a linen shirt and you wear it in the summer. People don't want to wear long sleeves in the summer. This one was, I think it was, must have been $6.99. But this particular thrift haul, I went on Wednesday, which in my town, Wednesday at the Salvation Army is half off close day. So I paid $3.50 for an extra large shirt, which is fairly close to a yard and a third, maybe a yard of fabric for a linen cotton blend, which is amazing. This next shirt is actually, I think the top three are linen cotton blends. So maybe I just won't talk about that. This one is a little pinkier. It has a little more blue undertones, and I liked it just as well. In fact, actually, these top 3 shirts really actually go together. I don't know if you can see that in the stack. It is just really, that could be a really pretty colorway, even with the kind of mint green below it. They just happen that way as I put them in the stack. There's nothing special about these first 3, except that they are that linen blend that I've been looking for. This one it is also an extra large, also $3.50. And some of you might say or think, $3.50 is still a lot for a thrift store shirt. And maybe so. But I think of it like this. When I go to the local quilt store to get thread and to get my quilts quilted and various other things, I am standing at the register and they have the fat quarter, like little bin. I call it the candy. It's like the impulse buy at the grocery store. It's like candy for quilters. And I'll pick up 1 or 2 or 4, and they're $3.25. So it's $3.25 a piece. And it's a quarter of a yard of fabric. These are a yard of fabric for $3.50. So I don't know. To me, that's like gets a slam dunk. This next one is navy, and it is a heathered navy shirt, also linen blend. This one, I don't know where I wrote the amount on it because I didn't, probably on the tag. Anyway, which brings me to my point. Once I get my shirts cut down into pieces to sew with, I have long forgotten the price and very often long forgotten the size. And then I'll talk about them in quilt stories or quilt pattern videos or what's on my sewing table. And sometimes people say, what size shirt was that? So like if I make binding out of a shirt, what size shirt was it? I don't know. I have no idea. So I have started with my permanent ink pen that I can wash and dry and all the other stuff and nothing happens. It's actually archival ink. Not that that's important for writing the price and size. This one I wrote on the tag. It was $3.50. The size is still in the tag. It is also an extra large. So apparently it was the day for extra large linen cotton blend shirts that are $3.50. So that's that one. This next one, talk about my favorite things. Linen is maybe, I don't know, it may be a dead tie between linen and gingham, but linen, it's at the top. Kind of down the list is very large men's shirts because there's so much fabric in them. It is phenomenal. If you think about it, if you have a long sleeve shirt in a large or an extra large, just the sleeves are a fat quarter. So the sleeves are a third of the shirt, which is a fat quarter. The 2 fronts add up to a fat quarter, and the back adds up to a fat quarter. So if I buy my shirts for $9.75 or less, I'm coming out flush with what I would get at the local quilt store. This one is 5X. 5X. And it's gigantic. It fills up my whole sewing table. Now, right here in the detail, you will see this thing has some stains on it. Right here, along the pocket, probably where pins or something were down in it. This person that wore this shirt reminds me of me because this is also where I stain my shirts because sometimes I'm not careful when I'm eating. I'm never careful when I'm eating. I'm always enjoying the food and never my clothes are far down the list of concerns. The food is the thing. So I think this person might have had this same penchant. Penchant? How do you say that? Penchant. But anyway, so there are stains here and you think, why would you buy a stained shirt? Because when it's 5X, I can lose a 12-inch square and still have a ton of fabric. This one is also linen cotton blend day, and I paid $3.50 for it. Also, there's a stain on the collar. It's huge. Look at that. That is crazy. I don't know that I finished that first thought, which is I've been writing in either the collar or if it's a long sleeve shirt in the cuff, because when I break my shirts down, I keep them, the shirts, and also the cuffs and the collars. I have a whole tote just for yokes, collars, cuffs, kind of those, what do you do with this? I had been throwing them away. And several viewers are like, don't throw them away. You can use them for, and so I've saved them. And many people have suggested in the comments that if you save some part of the cuff or the collar, you can put them on a safety pin. And when you go shopping for more shirts, or even to your fabric store, if you're trying to match up a quilt, you put all of your pieces, those cuffs and collars, on a safety pin or on a ring, and then you have your colorway. And so if you're looking for something that's a gap in your colorway, you have it right there, and then you'll know if it matches, and you won't have to do that. I think this is close, and get it home and it doesn't match at all. Which they say color memory is very, very difficult. Like, you think of it, because there's the color that it actually is, and then there's the way you remember it. And those are sometimes very different things, which is interesting. Isn't that fascinating? Like, how you think about a color impacts the color that you remember it to be versus the objective actual color it is. I don't know. I think that's really cool. So this shirt is amazing and huge, and I will get so much mileage out of it. And it was $3.50 for probably 2 yards of fabric. Unbelievable. Next up on my list of my favorite things, we've covered linen. Another one of my favorite things is finding floral men's shirts for so many reasons. I don't know if you do this, but sometimes I imagine the person that would wear this shirt. I don't think my spouse has ever had a floral dress shirt. And he's not weird or snobby about, like, ooh, I don't wear pink, or ooh, I don't wear purple, or ooh, I don't wear florals. He just doesn't have a floral shirt. And so I'm intrigued at the man that wants to wear a floral shirt. I think that's actually really, really cool. And also, as we all know, floral prints are like the backbone of quilting, especially if you're buying manufactured, well, I guess it's all manufactured. If you're buying fabric off the bolt, many, many, many people, many quilters like that floral look. And it really can be lovely. It also can pair well with solids and stripes and plaids, and it just kind of becomes its own neutral. So when I find a floral shirt, I think long and hard about it because it's interesting to me. This one is an extra large. It's cotton. The price on it is $2. That's what I paid. It was $3.99. The floral itself is pretty to me. It's just two-tone. It's sagey green, but it has a lot of blue in it, so it might read almost in the aqua family. This is one of those very hard colors when you're putting things in color order. Where does this go? Does this go with gray? Does this go with green? Does this go with blue? I really thought it might match a plaid that I have in my stash that's sage and chartreuse. And I thought, man, wouldn't that be amazing? It didn't match at all, which is the thing about color memory. So this one is really, really pretty, and it feels and looks to me just exactly like a fabric that I would buy from the fabric store. So I'm eager to get this broken down and see how it turns out. This next shirt is an Oxford cloth shirt, and it's a really pretty yellow. I have also extolled the virtue of Oxford cloth shirts. It is among my favorite things. It is not my favorite thing when it has not been starched because it frays and ravels so badly that it makes me angry. But if I starch them well, I love them. And it does give that texture. It can almost read like a linen because the weave is so visible. and it has that texture and the combination of the colors that come together that are woven to make it interesting. This one is an extra large and it's long sleeve, so it will give me a lot of fabric to work with, and it's a good yellow. It's just I say that a lot. Oh, this is a good green. Oh, this is a good yellow. Yellows can get so bright that they're hard to work with, or they can be so dull and I almost said faded. That's not the right word. Muted. That it's too muted. This one is right there in that sweet spot. It's got some vibrance to it, but it's not so bright that it will clash. It will probably work with a lot of different fabrics. So I'm really excited about that. Unfortunately, I think a few of these shirts came from a different thrift store, and I was not as vigilant about writing the prices down on the second store. So this one, I have no idea how much I paid for it. If it was $10, it would still be worth it to me, which, by the way, my mother was a shopper. She loved to shop. She loved to shop so much. That was like, it wasn't her hobby. She really loved to shop. And she was a bargain shopper. She did not shop at the thrift store. She shopped at actual stores. And she would come home and say to my dad, I saved $175. And he would say, but how much did you spend? And she would say, I don't know. And he was like, well, you didn't save $175 you spent. So if you spent $100, you spent $100. She was like, right, but it should have been $275. And instead it was only $100. So there's this kind of running joke in my family, like, you didn't just save money, you also spent money. So, but I will tell you at the end of this thrift haul what I saved. And I'll be my mother's daughter and be so pleased with myself for what I saved. This shirt is from the original thrift haul, from the first store. That's what I'm trying to say. And it is not especially interesting, I don't think. It's kind of that same yellow, a little bit, in the same kind of family as this previous shirt. I have been making quilt blocks with a navy background from a pattern called Quilty Stars, and I have talked about that on my sewing table, I think twice. And I'm just kind of always looking. Oh, that sounds like the Roz from Monsters, Inc. Always watching. So I'm always watching out for colors and prints in shirts that I can use in those Quilty Star blocks, because I'm wanting to do a sort of thematic. One has a blue background or a overall blue theme. One is gray. I'm looking for some reds. This is my yellow. And I had 3 fabrics that had yellow in them. I'm kind of looking for that 4th to do the triangles. So this is my 4th. I'm actually over the moon about it. When I saw it, I was like, oh, that's going to perfectly tie in that navy and golden floral that I've been wanting to use in the Quilty Stars block. And this is a long project that I'm working on. Another one of my favorite things, stumbling onto a printed shirt, plaid or stripe or floral, that already ties into fabrics that I have. And I bought it without having my little sample fabrics to make sure it matched. And so I was really hoping and praying that it would match. And I got it home and it matches. And I'm so excited about it. This one is a large. I wrote the price in wrong. It was $3.99, but I paid $1.99, which I've been arbitrarily rounding up on these. So like the $1.50 was actually $1.49. This one I wrote down on my list too, but I wrote in this collar $1.99. I don't know. Must have been a rough night when I was writing these down. I'm really, really excited about this one. And I think that it's the sort of fabric and plaid that I'll be able to use in many other projects as well. And since I have that yellow shirt that matches it and complements it well, it's one of those things I'm going to get a lot of use out of it. My next favorite thing, polka dots. I love polka dot fabric. I actually just like things that are polka dotted in general. I don't know why that is. I think it's orderly. I like the ordered prints and patterns. This one is what I would call micro polka dots. It is just tiny little navy or black. I have been in debate with myself. I've done is that navy? Is that black? I think it's navy. And I will be able to use this fabric in that same quilt pattern, the Quilty Stars one. This will be a nice low volume to contrast some of the colored thematic squares and triangles. And also I just think, well, I just like it. It's a medium. I don't often buy medium or small shirts unless I really like the print, because polka dots are one of my favorite things. Cream colored ponies and crisp apple strudels and polka dots. I went on and bought it, and it was $1.50. So twist my arm. This next shirt, more linen. This one is cream, barely. I tend toward liking white as opposed to cream. Well, I've talked about this in the past. I like the winter colors from Color Me Beautiful in the 80s. So crisp white, girls in white dresses with blue satin sashes, red, red and the jewel tones, and the creams and olive and autumn colors are not really, I just don't really lean to them. But again, collecting linen. I don't have the price on this one. This was from the other store. It's 100% Irish linen, which I have no idea what that is, but it makes me want to go Google it and find out. It is a medium. It is a medium, and it is long sleeve. I feel like this is just one of those, I'm collecting linen, and so I get it. So that's that. Actually, not a lot to say about that one. This one, again, with the polka dots, it's an interesting color gray. This is that grayish that I'm inclined to purchase when I see it. I like grays. Oh, I did it again. I'm wearing a gray shirt. I have a lot of gray in my wardrobe, and I just like it. My former pharmacy manager and partner, I made a quilt for her baby girl, and I didn't even ask her, what she wanted. I made a gray and white quilt for her, for her baby, but of course it was for her. And when she pulled it out, she was so excited because she and I we would walk in and have on almost the same outfit: gray shirt, black pants, black sensible shoes. So I just buy gray, which I think we know this. So, and it's polka dot. These last two are interesting to me. I really was back and forth on the fence about whether I wanted to get them. One of them is pretty large. One is a medium. It's not something that you look at and go, oh, I have got to have that. But it's that good gray. I need to figure out what a bad gray is, or a bad yellow, bad gray. But it's that neutral gray that can work as a background. It can work beautifully as a backing for a quilt. It's a good color to juxtapose against other men's shirts, because men do often wear shirts with gray pants or charcoal gray suit. And so a lot of times there are gray undertones in especially patterned shirts that men have. And so you kind of know going in, it's probably going to look good with the other fabrics that are in my stash. This one is interesting to me. It has a faint stripe, white stripe, that's actually the grain. So it was the way it was woven. It's not just like printed on, it's woven in. The pattern that's in it is actually it's kind of a strange. There's a triangle, and then there's almost like a diamond. I don't know if you can see that. But it's in the weave. It's almost like it's been picked up through the fabric. And I stood there and debated back and forth. And my youngest was actually with me on this particular, at this particular thrift store. And she said, just get it, which is really what the older one, my eldest does Mom, just get it. But the younger one was like, well, we're going to be ringing up other stuff anyway. You might as well get that too. And I love that. I make that same decision sometimes. Like if I can't find anything and I'm on the fence about one or maybe two items, if I'm not already going to the register and going to stand in line, I'm like, meh. But if I have an armload of things already, well, I'm going to be waiting at the register. What's one more? So this was the what's one more, kind of what's two more. So I liked that one. And then this one, this shirt actually gives me joy. It is it's just a gray shirt, and it has a floral print that is a darker, little bitty, almost like daisy flower, and then a lighter version of the same color family, same flower, just all mixed in. From a distance, like if I did the thing where I hold it up like way behind me, it's just like a mottled gray, but up close, it's these pretty little flowers. And again, men wearing floral shirts, I like it. I really do. I like the thought of it, and I like getting those shirts. I said it early on in the very first thrift haul. Large men with good taste in clothes, I'm a fan. This one is a medium, and I must have gotten this one from the first one because I actually do have the price, or maybe I just remembered it. It was $4.98. So you might think, oh, that's not a lot of fabric for $4.98, but kind of when you put it in the total thrift haul, it comes out in the wash. There again, spending, saving. That's my thrift haul. I added up the shirts from the half off, and it came out to $19.50 for an afternoon of enjoyment and fabric. And I got 7 shirts from that store. And so if you do the math, that is, I think it's $2.78. Might round up to $2.79 a shirt. So again, if each shirt is somewhere between 3/4 to 1 1/3, or in the 5X camp, even more, and fabric is typically between $8 and $12 a yard, I think I came out okay. I can't even get a fat quarter for $2.79. 3 fat quarters per shirt. So I was going to say I could do the math, but I don't want to do that math. So I'm going to start, kind of keeping up with my prices so that when I get to the end of my quilt, I can say, this is how much I spent. I may not actually want to know that. That may not be one of my favorite things, knowing how much money I spent on a quilt. For those of you that like saving money, like being practical, like beautiful fabric on a budget, let me just tell you, it is also one of my favorite things. Thanks for being with me today. I'm Kathy Martin. This is the Catbird Quilts. Thank you so much for watching.